Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of this season's Close the Content Loop webinars, our regular talks about all things content lifecycle management. My name is Emerson and I'm here with my colleague Sam Courtney. Hey Sam.
Hey folks, great to be here as always, Emerson.
Good to see you, Sam. I'm looking forward to meeting up in person at KM World Conference in Washington, DC. I think that's November 6th, isn't it?
Yep, sure is. Look forward to seeing you there. It should be a great show and a great opportunity to connect with customers and partners around the knowledge management taxonomy boot camp.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm really looking forward to that one. It's going to be a great show. And it gives me great pleasure today to introduce our special guest from Content Rules, a near 30-year-old content consultancy specializing in content strategy and technology. Please welcome Content Rules Director of Technology, Max Swisher.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Sam and Emerson. Looking forward to our discussion.
It's great to have you. Thanks for joining us, Max. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to a good chat. And so today's question is, what's our ideal content technology strategy and who should be involved in defining it? So a big question, but lots to think about, lots to break up there. And there are 2 focus areas we want to cover today, really, with plenty to talk about in each. The first one being about enterprise content lifecycle management, or ECLM for short, the technology and options around that. And the second one is centered around the actual stakeholders within the business who will be using and gaining the day-to-day value from it, or not, as the case may be, if the first one that we talked about isn't done properly. So to the technology options, we often enter, I guess, conversations around the comparison between, say, single vendor solutions, a hybrid solution, a best of breed approach, plus the feasibility of an enterprise building a solution themselves. So I think that's a good place to start. Obviously, the market's changing a lot. There's a lot of modernization. There's a lot of ecosystem extensibility going on. So Max, what's your take on these options, and where do you think they fit on this strategy map?
Well, there's an amazing number of options out there. And over the years, the variety of content management and creation tools and systems on the market has not really shrunk. But there have been a few key players that have emerged as prominent and more recommendable than others. Really, the range goes from completely custom, as you said, an in-house build where really every piece or almost every piece of the operations workflow is taking part in some sort of custom developed tool. And there can be some reasons to do this, which we'll get into later, but generally speaking, you're getting into a world of complex development that's already been explored by players in the market that are really good at what they do. So relative to this, we get to the hybrid best of breed or single vendor sort of solutions where there's different levels of customizability and different levels of extensible feature sets. And especially as we're getting into an age of personalization and digital delivery, having a platform that expands and adapts to the needs of the content and to the needs of your content users is really important. And both best of breed and single vendor solutions will provide some fantastic results. But when you have a single vendor, really all of the things that you need are unified in a single place. And there are myriad benefits to having everything centralized and having one dedicated vendor team to help you with all aspects of your content lifecycle.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It's that one number to call, isn't it? That's really important.
Yeah, and even, with a best of breed approach, you are able to call the developers of all of the different pieces, but typically when it comes to the glue that's between them, who exactly is on the hook when something isn't working gets really muddy. And that is where having a single vendor who can assure that every piece of the platform, every part of the process is talking and getting done properly can be really convenient.
Yeah, and I guess the more and Sam, you can jump in here. The more modern way of doing it is to build an ecosystem, isn't it? And to actually have systems that talk and connect with each other via API, via webhook, that kind of thing. That seems to be a much more sort of modern and sensible way to do it, Sam.
Yeah, that's what we found, Emerson. Using our best practices and diverse experience across multiple industries and domains, our customers benefit from our ability to manage and improve their operational and cultural transformations for content management with a single vendor. Developing a content strategy is key to this, and supporting this with technology enables the many roles involved in the life cycle to actively engage and perform tasks with significant improvements in efficiencies.
Yeah, great. I totally agree with that. So Max, just sort of dropping back a bit to what we were just saying previously, when it comes to satisfying business objectives, is there like a formula or a process that you would suggest from your experience that can help work out what to go for when it comes to the choice of those kinds of systems?
Well, I wish that there was always a perfect, a perfect easy answer. Generally speaking, if the feature set of the single vendor solution fits your content needs, then that's that go ahead and go for that. When best of breed and in-house build type of solutions are more necessary or prevalent, is situations where there are really specific needs of either the content or the content users that simply cannot be met by a single vendor solution. But in terms of if there's a formula, our formula is to very carefully assess all of the content and business goals of our customers and compare those to different options. And often single vendor solutions like Quark's platform are top of mind when we're doing that process.
Great stuff. Yeah. So I'm just thinking about the people, Max, as well. So let's talk about the people that are involved in that. So obviously that really helps with sort of looking at the landscape of what kind of system should I be building or assembling or composing or customizing. That's a big thing. An ecosystem seems to be the answer there. But if we talk about the people themselves, is one of the key considerations of any technology deployment is the actual human resource that it impacts. And in the content strategy, creation, and publishing process, there can be multiple departments and key personas that can be involved in that. So I mean, which ones do you normally connect with when it comes to enterprise content, and who do you think has the biggest influence?
Well, there's those who have the biggest influence and those who maybe should have the biggest influence. When it comes to my experience, often there's two sides that the whole content technology strategy is approached from. There's sort of the top-down stakeholders and business goals which need to be met, whether that's the amount of time it takes to produce updates or the amount of money it costs to produce translations. And then there's the actual on the ground perspective. Folks like the writer and the graphic designer who work with the tools and in the process on a daily basis. And at the end of the day, this whole technology change is going to have really the most impact on day to day. So we find in our methodology that it's really important to consult pretty much everyone you see on screen here. And often we like to consult with each one of these people individually and anonymously to get their honest opinions on how things are working today and how they should work in the future, so that we can evaluate different ecosystem solutions and figure out what is going to move the goals of the content and the company forward with the best results for everyone involved in the life cycle.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It's just the inclusion of everybody, isn't it, Sam? I guess when we're talking to people looking to change their strategies and implement technology solutions, would you say that rings true there? That it's really important to get the view of everybody?
Yeah, it's key because there's so many roles involved in the life cycle, and getting everyone's input is key. This is often a gap that organizations fail to incorporate in their strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. So that shows us how important the 360 view on the whole impact across the employee ecosystem is. So that's fascinating stuff and something to really remember there. And we certainly find that there are so many different pain points and priorities throughout the organization, which are critical to a successful project. So if we could I know, Max, you mentioned a few in particular there, but if we pick out 3 roles in particular from here, as each can tell a completely different story, really, we look at 3 aspects for each. So those 3 aspects are the challenges they individually face, the consequences to their daily role if they don't have the right content technology in place, and obviously the benefits, the good things to their role if they do.
Well, from my perspective, I'll start on the left and move to the right. Our content operations manager, when there aren't proper tools and strategies in place, is living in a constant state of panic. And that's because there are requests for all sorts of updates, all sorts of new materials to be published, and managing an ineffective system with multiple authors both writing and multiple stakeholders waiting for results gets really difficult. And on the contrary, when you have a system that really leverages the strategy in place and allows you to truly operate on the wavelength that your team is trying to, things go much more smoothly. And instead of spending time tracking down really small things that somehow got lost in the process, you can actually think about what other things you might be able to do with the content. So the content operations manager can see all of this valuable material that's been created by his team and has the bandwidth to start thinking of other ways to more effectively leverage the information and provide better results for everyone who uses the content on the output side. And moving to the graphic designer, with certain systems, the graphic designer is so far removed from the actual content authoring and writing process that if the tools don't allow for information to easily flow from a format-free source into a format-rich layout, there's just going to be a lot of friction. I think friction is the best word to describe what the 3 folks on screen experience when their tools are not truly suited to the operation that they're taking part in. And a content author probably is one of the most affected, and also one of the roles that has existed in part of this operation for longest, as so many writers are used to a certain tool set that grants them features and an easy writing experience. And changing technology, both for the graphic designer and the writer, is really going to make a significant difference to how they do their jobs on a daily basis. So this is a great opportunity to leverage the human resources that your enterprise has and get it so that you're not spending quite so much time helping people get through outdated processes and lose track of information, and actually have the bandwidth to focus on their tasks and get more value from the content than they were able to before. So that's how you know that you have made an effective technology strategy change, is that when each of these 3 folks on screen are able to confidently say that their very different and disparate jobs are much easier thanks to this one centralized platform.
That's an awesome summary. I think the word friction is absolutely correct. Yeah, because it's not that they're purposely trying to do it, but they're trying their best to work together. But they're being hindered, aren't they, Max, with what they currently have in front of them from a technology point of view?
Exactly. And we've had a very broad range of experiences over our 30 years of solving complex content challenges. One of them is the experience where the content author and the graphic designer believe that what they have is doing perfectly fine and it works great, and they simply haven't been shown the potential for working in a new and different way. And our experience has generally been that once we explain and help get buy-in to the value of this change, that's when you start getting some champions of the new technology, and that's where a whole world of possibilities really opens up. So we found the human factor in general and making sure that we assess the needs, wants, desires, and fears in a change management conscious way of everyone from stakeholders all the way down to the people writing and designing the content on a daily basis is really important to be successful with this strategy.
I think one of the things we find as well, we're able to provide a solution that enables writers to use Microsoft Word to do structured authoring. So that's obviously a big benefit, but also as part of Quark as well, we have Quark Express, which is one of the original desktop publishing pieces of software. So from a graphic design point of view, there's full integration within that product. So we do find that is a massive benefit and really ticks a lot of boxes there, Max.
Yep, that really is a fantastic benefit. It's hard to explain what the experience is like, the difference in daily life for these folks, the quality of work life, you could almost call it, when you're working with tools that are familiar, but you're not losing the value or somehow working completely separately from all of the people who the information needs to get to next or come from before.
Brilliant. So we know how the right, wrong, or missing content technology can really impact the workforce, and that's pretty clear from what we've just been talking about. But if we put this into a customer use case context now, Sam, do you have an example of how a specific user role in the organization has seen sort of ROI from it?
Yeah, sure do, Emerson. So this customer is in the biotech sector, and they're transforming their medical communications content and chose our platform to create a new strategy for managing the variety of collateral pieces that they use.
Right. And how has Quark Publishing Platform Next Gen work for them?
So their current role-based operational structure is being refined and transformed for an improved customer experience. And the processes that they follow are being streamlined for better efficiency and compliance. So the authoring role now has a simpler yet robust user interface that guides them for content creation and updates. And they also use references from their custom citation library. And this allows them to support multiple languages with a very powerful translation management feature that QPP provides.
Yeah, translation's massive, and particularly in that sector, all the sort of regulations and different variations of content, as well as the actual language changes, create so many different requirements there, doesn't it? So that's a great story. So, okay, so we've got a bunch of stuff to recap on here. So if we look at three sort of takeaways from this, so first, a single vendor platform, or at least a single vendor ecosystem driven platform is the ideal, but I guess not necessarily every time, right, Max?
Agreed. There are certain situations where having a specific component and by component, I mean sort of a piece of the entire end-to-end lifecycle puzzle. There's certain situations where one component is really necessary, or two, and that drives the requirement for the rest of the solution. And there are also situations where there are content or content usage needs that are either restricted in terms of security or in terms of format or other legacy requirements that make an in-house solution necessary. In terms of in-house solutions, I have to warn that often they go out of date, and it's really challenging to keep up with the needs of the content team when your IT team is also trying to maintain all of the other infrastructure that goes on for an enterprise. So generally speaking, single vendor solutions are going to be the easiest to handle.
Right. And then number two, I think we talked about all the different users, all the different personas, the people involved in defining the content strategy. I mean, the IT department are obviously very influential in that, but I think we've discovered pretty clearly that it's not just the IT department's call, is it? It's not just them defining the technology strategy.
Indeed. And so often we see customers get stuck in the trap of thinking of this as simply an IT or technology change, when really this has wide-reaching impacts for a lot of people involved. And the same change can have drastically different results just depending on how the users are informed, and how they are told, and how they are involved in the process for adopting the new technology. So most definitely, it is not just the IT department's call, and it's really imperative to ensure that you have buy-in and even enthusiasm from all of the people who will be working in the system daily.
Yeah, that's really important. Enthusiasm's great. Got to be motivated. And third, I'll turn this one to you, Sam. You've got to be clear on the use cases, and the ROI will surely follow.
Absolutely, Emerson. We found that use case scenarios defined for the roles involved are key to truly capturing the ROI and the value achieved. And our deployment methodology leverages these paths for a role-based solution to provide a tailored user experience for each person using the platform, which focuses on a simple yet robust behavior for each user.
Yeah, personalization is everything here. Great. So let's just talk about the actual QPP Next Gen a bit more, because we've got so much innovation happening at the moment within QPP Next Gen. So Sam, do you want to give us a quick overview of what's happening and what's coming in the next release?
Sure, Emerson. Content analytics based on production and user metrics will be easily available for reporting and visualizing the data. And this can be done at a section or component level. Using our platform data visualization technology, graphics can be viewed in a sideboard dashboard for the users while they're authoring and assembling components. And this helps them to support their decision making when it comes to maintaining, reviewing, and retiring content.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And we'll turn to you, Max. So tell us a bit more about content rules. And what are you up to? What did you do? Because you've got so much experience there. We can tell just talking to you what you've got there and what you've done. So please give us an overview.
Sure. Well, in one sentence, I like to say that we solve complex content problems, but really what that means is we're an end-to-end services consultancy with everything ranging from content development, writing and illustration services, all the way through to layout, also into developing a strategy for how you're going to use a certain tool set to effectively achieve content goals. Often this strategy includes developing content models, a consistent way of representing information across an information type, as well as taxonomy and metadata, and reuse strategies to make sure that all of your authors understand when, where, and how to reuse different pieces of information across their content. Typically, this sort of strategy needs to be enabled by complex and advanced tooling like Quark's publishing platform, which in the back are really doing a lot to in the back are doing much more to make the seamless experience available to the users, while advanced things are going on in the background to assemble, format, and publish this information. And we will help your team learn how to do all of these things, or we are happy to do all of these things for you. And just because I didn't mention something that you need help with doesn't mean we can't help. We get a ton of very interesting and odd requests from our customers on a daily basis. And usually we have the experience or have someone with the experience to get this problem solved. So that is Content Rules.
Amazing. Thank you, Max. That's brilliant. And it was great to have you on Closer Content Loop. Thanks again for joining us. We really enjoyed your company.
It was a pleasure, and looking forward to the next time.
Absolutely. And Sam, thanks as always. Looking forward to catching up again soon.
Great, Emerson. I'll see you in DC in a couple months.
And lastly, if you want some top tips, everybody, on next generation enterprise content lifecycle management, go grab our new ebook by heading over to the resources area of quark.com. It's free and full of information to help you mature your content strategy. So please go ahead and find that on our website and get downloading. Well, thanks everybody. And look out for the next episode of Close the Content Loop. Don't forget to subscribe to our Quark Publishing Platform Next Gen YouTube channel for all the latest webinars and videos. You can visit quark.com for more information about QPP Next Gen and get a demo. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.